against the ropes, number one.
Nobody's ever been better.
Now, an historic partnership takes flight as Premier Boxing Champions becomes the newest crown jewel of the Fox Sports universe.
Here we go.
And brings primetime boxing to a whole new level.
Listen to this crowd. Left hook. Ortiz is down. He's out.
Bear witness as the sweet science is reborn.
I promise you.
Welcome to another episode of Against the Ropes. I am Giovanni Garcia. I am alongside Christian Mosqueda, Christian Rodriguez. It's episode 9. What's up, y'all?
Man, hey,
how we doing today?
Doing good. It was an exciting intro, for sure, for PBConFOX. Chris, give me your thoughts on that.
Oh, it was like expected, like last week, right? Remember, I was telling you how I was going to close it out, and regardless, whatever your opinion is, you should be excited.
Yeah,
because we got at least half of the schedule from PBC on deck already. So, what were your thoughts when you first heard it? Like as the fights came out.
Let's let people know what we're talking about.
Yep.
So we're talking about the PBC schedule for the first, I want to say the first quarter of 2019, or the first third quarter of the year.
All right. So Premier Boxing Champions is Al Heyman's stable.
In the first,
they made a deal with Fox, so now we're gonna have big fights.
The first episode is December 22. That's the Charlos brothers, and then you go ahead and bring up the schedule for January.
So January 13, we have Jose Uzcategui taking on Caleb Plant. And that's no joke right there. That's a good fight. January 26, we have the return of Keith One-Time Thurman taking on the always tough Josecito Lopez. One-time lady.
Finally.
Finally, he's making a comeback after, going through a lot of injuries.
What else we got?
February 16th, we have Leo Santa Cruz taking on Miguel Flores. The week after that, we have Anthony Durrell taking on Avni Yildirim. Following that, we're going to have Mr. Showtime, Sean Porter, taking on Yordenis Ugas. And we talked about this. We'll talk a little bit more about that, guys. On March 16th, we have the much-anticipated fight between Errol Spence Jr. taking on Mikey Garcia. And that's the one that stands out in this schedule. The week after that, March 24th, we have Lamont Peterson taking on Sergey Lipinets. And then April, we see Caleb Truax taking on Peter Quillen. He's back. Get chocolate. And then April 20th, we see Danny Garcia taking on Adrian Granados. So, guys, your thoughts?
Wanna go?
Well, obviously the one that stands out is Mikey Garcia against Errol Spence. That became official. When is that? March
16th.
At the Dallas Cowboy Stadium.
Yep. Pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's obviously the biggest one. That's the one I'm looking forward to. We have Keith returning against Josecito Lopez. Should be good. Should be another knockout for him. What else?
We have Sean Porter.
What other standout? Sean Porter. Yep.
Which Sean is a lot. If we see this on paper, guys, you can really, and Chris, we talked about this. You can really see who the red corner is and who the blue corner is.
Yeah. Well, these fights are pretty much made to
showcase their skills,
to set up other fights. Basically, I guess they're planning on the red corner winning, and then they should be facing each other later on in the year. But it's a good start to the year.
No, yeah, I like you said, the one that stands out is Errol Spence against Mikey, and a lot of people feel some type of way over this fight. A lot of people think that Mikey's too small. He's obviously he believes in himself. That's why he took this fight, but he's taking on one of the very best in the welterweight division, a man that has a lot of power, has a lot of size, and we saw at the press conference. That's the first time that Mikey had a chance to size Errol up, and Errol's a big boy. Chris, what do you feel about that fight? Do you think Mikey sees something?
I mean, he has a lot of he has something that most boxers don't want to do, right? Meaning, like, step aside the belts, let's just get in the ring and box the best, right? So, like I mentioned, like, Mikey Garcia runs the philosophy of high risk and high reward, right? In this case, you fight for a fight if it's for a belt. You fight for a fight if it's for the money, right? In this case, Adrian Broder for the money. Sergio Lipinets if it's for the belt, right? For 140. So, yeah, major risk for Mikey Garcia because we saw what happened with that risk regarding Kell Brook versus Triple G, right? So, afterwards, his right eye or left eye is not the same anymore, right? And Errol Spence proved it, right? After that. Yeah. So, hopefully, Mikey Garcia, I think the goodest thing is that he's not going to lose in the end. At the end of the day, he already won because he has, like, everybody in the boxing arena understanding that this guy is willing to get in the ring with anybody, even though he's going to lose. He's going to have a good payday, obviously, right, on pay-per-view. But at the same time, too, like, his health may be at risk, but he understands that this is about greatness. Yeah. Something that most boxers don't want to chase that much. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, this is one of those fights that you could have marinated, and we talk about that M-word. He could have easily, waited a year, fight some of these other guys. He had a fight, with Comey, a guy we didn't know about. But
right.
This is one of those fights that he could have easily marinated, or this could have been easily one of those fights that, doesn't get made for X whatever reason. But you see the greatness in Mikey. He really wants to test his abilities. And, I mean, props to him. Obviously, in my opinion, he made everybody in that room look bad. All the welterweights in that room that were avoiding Errol, he made them look bad. And like you said, even in defeat, you can come out a winner.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you look at the PBC schedule, January, Keith Thurman, March, Sean Porter, and Errol Spence, and Lamont Pearson, April, Danny Garcia. So all these welterweights are all close to each other, meaning that they can fight right away within 2 months. So there's no need for a separation within 3 or 2 months, right? So this sets up really good for PBC for the welterweights towards the middle half of summer or fall. So props to PBC for doing this. And I know a lot of people are going to give a lot of slack for Leo Santa Cruz, right? Fighting that fight. Yeah. Keith Thurman for fighting Josecito Lopez, right? But even Sean Porter too, right? But I think a lot of people need to understand that there's a larger picture in this. And people need to understand this is only on Fox. Al Heyman also has Showtime Boxing. Yeah. And he has not shown that calendar yet. That's why we still don't know what's going to happen with Gary Russell Jr. We still don't know what's going to happen with Davis, right? Yeah. And you never know. And more than likely, this is just my assumption because more than likely it's going to happen. We're probably going to watch a rematch of Deontay Wilder and Fury at Wembley. Watch. I'm calling it right now. That should be something worth looking because that should be a two-way fight. So there's a lot of fights that still needs to be like put in schedule. But at the same time, too, Al Heyman is smart. He's not going to put the best fighters to fight the best fighters right now. Yeah. He's going to let the Zone and ESPN go ahead. Here's my little breadcrumb. And then go ahead and see what you're gonna match it up, right? Yeah. So in this case, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. This is the skeleton pretty much, and it's funny that we see that the Zone's been very active, very busy every week, in and out, and you see the Fox PBC card is like there's a fight almost every other week, So it's he's staying in there. He's staying in there. He's not putting all his cards out there, but he's giving us a kind of like a pathway of where it's going, and that he's competing with his own.
What do you think about all of this, Gio, this whole Premier Boxing Fox thing schedule so far right now?
I don't care. Like I said, I just care about the Mikey Garcia against Errol Spence fight. And everything that people are saying is just very generic, right? Oh, the weight difference, obviously. Everybody knows that. It's not a big surprise. But honestly, if that fight was like a pound-for-pound fight, meaning that if both guys are the same size, I think Mikey would take him out easily. I think the only reason this is a big fight is because of Errol's big size advantage. When you watch an Errol Spence fight, what do you see, Christian? What do you see?
I see power. I see skills.
What skills?
What do you
Just be specific. What do you see? If I had never seen an Errol Spence fight, how would you describe him?
Errol's the type of guy that can finish, like if he gets you hurt, he can finish you.
He's a body snatcher.
Yeah.
To the body.
He goes to the body. But he can finish you.
All right, what will you tell me?
He's a body snatcher. He's gonna hurt your ribs.
If you had never seen Mikey Garcia fight, you know what I would tell you that I see in that fight? Everything.
So that's why
Everything.
that's what you were talking
You know,
about.
Errol Spence, how does he win his fights? You just said, right? He takes everybody out. Has he really been tested?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he got pushed.
Has he been tested defensively?
By Kell Brook, but no, he did not get tested.
No, Kell Brook is stop.
Who
Has
do
he
you-
been tested? Has he been tested defensively?
Who has Mikey Garcia been tested?
Oh, he was tested against a Lipinets. Right, bigger guy, stronger guy, and you saw the chin that he possessed, right?
Yeah, Lipinets reminds me of Ruslan.
He also
Provodnica.
fought.
A little bit.
He also fought Adrian Broner, which is a test. I don't care what
no.
people say.
No, it's not, dude.
I mean, you can say whatever
We
you
can
want.
save it for another show.
What did he fight? He also fought the longer Easter, which that's a test.
I think you're stretching, dude.
I mean, you could call it whatever you want, but if you look at the resumes and the weights that they've been fighting at, like I said, if it was a pound for pound fight, if they're both guys the same size,
yeah, and
it wouldn't even be a fight.
I get you with that.
I get where you're coming
Even
from.
then, I still think Mikey's gonna beat him. I think the only reason Errol will beat him is just his size. That's
Right.
it. I think skill wise, it's not even close.
I can see that.
Yeah,
and I know what you mean. And
Do
I
we
think-
even know if Errol Spence has a chin?
We haven't seen him get hit cleanly. I'll give you that. We haven't seen him really get tested. I mean, I think a good test was against Kell Brook. He was fighting overseas. He was fighting, where the crowd is not
Stop
in your
it.
favor. But
that
again,
does
Kell Brook was Margarito. All you had to do was punch him in the eye, and the fight was over.
No, but that does play a huge role.
Mhm.
I mean, I mentioned this when it came down to the face-off between Triple G and Canelo. Like, there was an episode, but it didn't come out because Triple G came out positive, and that
Mhm.
ruined the whole face-off episode. Triple G said it. Like, during that first fight, he was stage fright. Like, the moment got to him. In this case, Errol Spence, like, he's somewhere at a different country with a different crowd. Everybody's against him. And, yeah, he came up, That's something that needs to be – that's a variable you need to at least have
take into account.
to
Yeah.
take it into account. For sure. But I don't know, as we move on with this fight between Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia.
Yeah, because that's the only way he'll beat him, right? Power. He's not gonna beat Mikey with defense. He's not gonna beat Mikey with skill.
And at the
He's
same
just gonna
time
beat him
too.
with power.
Yeah, and it's pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's pay-per-view. People want to see action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like you said, if Mikey loses, he doesn't really lose.
He doesn't he hasn't lost.
Yeah.
And Errol, if he beats Mikey, it's like the equivalent of like Crawford beating Lomachenko, right? It's just like, or Lomachenko beating Rigondeaux. What was the first thing that Lomachenko said after the fight? Well, he was a lot smaller, he's a king in the lighter divisions, but I mean, it's different when you're fighting a guy fucking 30 pounds heavier than, or lighter than you, like Errol Spence is going to fight Mikey, he's going to be a lot heavier. But yeah, props to Mikey for taking that fight. I think he's going to win.
You gonna put money on that?
No, I'm not going to put money on that, dude. You're fighting a guy 30 pounds heavier than you, But that reminds me of Pacquiao, Pacquiao's like the only guy that's been able to do that, like really fight way bigger guys and
beat him.
And that's what everybody said in the Pacquiao fights, like when he was facing Margarito. Margarito catches him, it's going to be over, right? When he fought De La Hoya, if De La Hoya catches him, it's going to be over, right? When he fought Mosley, same thing. He was fighting guys way bigger than him. So that's the challenge that Mikey is taking on right now. And if Errol Spence wins, I don't think he's not going to move up in my pound for pound list.
Is there anything positive that you could take away from Mikey for Errol Spence? Let's say, like, what would he need to do to try to convince you to see, like, yeah?
I think the ticket sales are going to be important. I think Canelo sold like 51,000 against Liam Smith in that same stadium. So we'll see how that turnout is in the pay-per-view. I think that's one of the positive things that we can take out of this.
There's some
if they're able to sell.
It should
fight.
sell because, one, you have Mexico down south, and then you have Errol Spence. That's his hometown. That's his area. So it should be and
Mikey's still gonna have more fans in his own hometown.
And I was watching one of the Charles brothers. They were saying, hopefully I'll be in the undercard. So they're gonna stack up that card, and we'll talk about Deontay Wilder versus Fury card but they are not gonna mess around when it comes to pay-per-view.
Yeah.
PBC. I think that's one thing that's gonna happen with PBC. That the zone, and we'll talk about. And now I'll talk about the zone because they're stacking up their card for Canelo too. So I'm seeing a trend when it comes to pay-per-views. They're gonna stack up those cards. So
Yeah. I mean, Mikey did say that there's some holes that he sees in Errol Spence's game, and
I mean, skill wise, I haven't seen much from Errol Spence just because of his he hasn't faced like top quality opponents.
I was gonna say that he hasn't been tested enough for him to pull out those skills. Like he overwhelms people with just one dimension of like the main dimensions. I feel like that he has.
it's kind of like for me, Errol Spence is like anything I could do better.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, Manny Pacquiao. You saw that fight against Chris Algieri.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the fight between Errol
I hate
Spence
these
and Chris
comparisons.
Algieri.
Oh my god!
No. But it's worth taking into account.
Errol Spence is like 40 pounds heavier than Pacquiao. What do you take out of that?
They're in the
There's
same.
nothing to compare.
They're in the same division. That's what I'm taking into account. Because you were talking about same division, same.
Just
fighters.
like when Christian would say, "Oh, look at how Triple G ran over guys and did stuff that Sergio Martinez couldn't do." No shit. Sergio Martinez is not a knockout artist, dude. You can't compare them. Different styles.
Yeah. So
Pacquiao didn't have that pop at 147. He wasn't knocking guys out with one punch.
we'll see what
I don't
happens.
know. These comparisons are all, man.
Well, I mean,
We sound like casual fans when we talk about that shit, man.
not really, because I'm looking at a fight that was at welterweight, and Errol Spence killed Chris Algieri compared to what Manny Pacquiao did to Chris Algieri.
So Errol Spence is better now because of that.
I'm not saying that.
That's why when I compare resumes, that's why like that just blows that whole argument out the water.
But will
if
you
you have guys fighting way better competition and they could do much more, like Crawford, like same shit. Canelo's doing the same shit that Crawford's doing to like way better opposition. So it's like, the fuck are we talking about here?
No, because resumes has context. There's
Here we go,
storylines.
man. You always have an excuse.
That's not an excuse.
Crawford, same thing. Why did he fight Gamboa? There's context to that shit.
There's
right?
they're at 135.
See?
135.
You see this?
He cleans everybody.
You see that?
He cleans everybody at 135. He cleaned everybody at 140.
Well, same shit. Canelo cleaned out everybody.
And what division?
Any division.
At what catchweight division?
Gamboa, Crawford.
What about that? What division is that? What division is that? 135.
All right, next topic.
What division has Canelo cleaned out?
All of them, really. All the ones he's fought in.
Which one?
All the ones he's fought in.
Name one
He
specific.
beat the biggest guys at every division.
Okay,
Who was the big guy at
name
154?
Name me what division did he clean out?
He beat the best guy at every division.
No, that's a whole different topic, dude.
That's how you clean him out. What's the point
Well,
of fighting
one-
the other
well,
guys?
well-
So you want him to go back and fight Matthew Macklin,
I want him-
DeGille.
I want him to-
You want him to fight all these 160s that everybody's been ran through.
I want him to fight Jacobs.
Jacobs been ran through already.
Nope.
What's the point of him?
He has a title. Jacobs. Who else
Everybody has a
at
title
160?
nowadays, dude.
That's a different conversation
Sean
between
Porter has a title.
Terrence Crawford and Canelo. Like he
My goodness.
neutralized everybody that's around
Who?
his division.
Who? Name 5 guys he beat.
Dude, anybody.
Name 5 guys he beat.
Dude, the one person.
Name 5 guys he beat.
Let me tell you who was the boogeyman at 140.
There is no boogie.
Yeah, nobody wanted to fight Victor Postol at all.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to fight Victor Postol at all,
Who is
dude.
that?
Nobody.
Who is that?
In fact, that fight was high risk and high reward.
Yeah.
You want me to tell you why? Because that fight was in pay-per-view. Oh,
How
and
much
by
did
the
it
way,
sell?
and that fight was in Las Vegas.
How much did it sell?
I said it. High risk, high reward. What
How
do you
much did
think?
it sell?
What do you think? What was the risk on that? You
There's
know,
no risk.
Top. Yeah, it was because Top Rank lost money on pay-per-views. They actually
That's
only
not his risk.
But he
That's
sold.
Top Rank's.
But they made up the money.
How's that a risk for him?
You talk about how Aaron.
How's
I
that
don't
a
know
risk
why
for him?
we came up. What do you mean?
How's that a risk for him?
Who?
Crawford. Who are we talking about?
Top Rank. That was a risk.
So it's not a risk for Crawford, right? We're talking about boxers.
That was
That's
a
not
risk.
Employer though.
That was a
We're
huge
not talking
risk.
about boxers. We're talking about boxers. We're not talking about promoters.
You're talking about who did Terrence Crawford fought, right?
Yes.
He fought the boogeyman.
Who did he fight?
Victor Postol was the guy that nobody wanted to fight. That's why everybody in the PBC,
Triple G was the
Everybody
guy
in-
nobody wanted to fight, and Canelo beat him.
everybody in the PBC ring left. Adrian Broner left. Danny Garcia left, and they vacated and they went to the 147 division because they can't get and chase any belts from Victor
You
Postol
can try
and
to
Terrence
reach all
Crawford.
you want.
I'm
but
not. That's what happened. Why didn't Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner fight?
I don't care about those guys.
Because
they're
they
all cherry
knew.
pickers.
They knew, dude.
Wasn't Triple G the boogeyman of boxing? And who beat him?
And nobody wanted to call him out.
And who beat him?
And let me ask you this: How come?
So it's the same thing.
How come Errol Spence is
Next
not
argument.
No, how come Errol Spence is not calling out Terrence Crawford?
Who? Errol Spence? I don't know.
How come is he not calling out? The one guy that is calling everybody out is Terrence Crawford. It's Terrence Crawford.
Well, he knows he can't fight. We already went through this discussion. He knows he can't fight.
Terrence Crawford cleaned out everybody
you
at
gotta keep the
135.
same energy. You talk about guys who call guys out.
You
for,
said
for not a.
no.
He can't fight those guys. No shades on me talking shit.
No, he cleaned out everybody at 135. He cleaned out everybody at 140. Whoever was there. Canelo has not done that. If you're talking about cleaning out everybody at a catchweight division, no, that's not cleaning out, dude. That's way different.
So Usyk now is above Crawford on your pound for pound list, right?
Usyk is in the top 5 pound for
He's
pound.
above Crawford, right?
Nope. He's not.
Wasn't that just your argument?
He's in the top 5.
There is no
I have
argument.
him side by side. They're right
Yeah,
there.
So there is
Making
no
it.
argument because he just wiped out a division. And he has a better... Crawford hasn't fought a big name like Bellew. Bellew is pretty big, I guess, in Britain.
Victor Postol was like,
Who the fuck is this?
Okay.
What's his record? Show me.
watch what I'm going to do.
Who has he beat?
Watch.
Who has he beat?
What's
Who
your...
has Postal ever beat?
Give me if you're gonna let me talk, give me a chance then.
Nobody.
He has a good name in there. There's
Yeah.
a good name in
Who?
there.
Watch this, Chris. What was your take when it came down to Danny Garcia versus Lucas Matisse? That fight. When you saw it, what did you take away from that fight?
Nothing.
So was it a good fight? Yes or no?
Yeah, it was a good fight.
Right. So
Both guys have power.
when you think about Lucas Matisse, what do you think about him as a fighter in general?
He has power.
He has power,
No defense.
no defense, but he's a fighter that brings it, right? Big time. Chris, what did happen when Victor Postol fought Lucas Matisse?
Man, he put on a boxing
Matisse is a
clinic.
C-class fighter.
Nah.
What are we talking about?
No, that's...
Who did Matisse ever beat? Who did Matisse ever beat?
Dude, that's disrespectful, dude.
Who did Matisse ever beat?
I think Matisse
That's-
rocked him
See?
a bit, and then
Let's answer these questions. Who has Matisse ever beat?
Dude, he beat Danny Garcia in that fight, dude. That was my take when I saw Lucas Matisse fight Danny Garcia, dude.
He got knocked out.
Yeah, I disagree. I think Matisse lost that fight.
Well,
But-
my take was that in that
Next
case,
But it was a
Argument.
good fight.
Next
What-
argument.
no. What I'm saying is that
Who has Matisse ever beat?
what Victor Postol did to Lucas Matisse is worth considering because Danny Garcia did that when he fought
Mhm.
when he fought him.
He knocked
That's-
him out.
That's what I'm.
Did
what,
you watch that fight?
So you see what I'm trying to do, right? I was talking about
Yeah.
Chris Algieri
He
when
knocked him out.
it came down to Manny Pacquiao.
Mhm.
Chris Algieri when it came down to Errol Spence, right? You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
Danny Garcia fighting Lucas Matisse, right? Victor Postol fighting Lucas Matisse. You see what ended up happening, right? Has Lucas
Danny
Matisse
Garcia knocked him out.
has
He
you
knocked out Matisse.
did you saw what Victor Postol did to Lucas Matisse?
Made him
No, I
quit.
didn't watch it.
He made him quit.
Yeah, he broke his
no
eye.
mas.
He broke his
mas.
eye.
Yeah, that's way different than getting the decision.
Isn't that what Pacquiao did too?
in the end? You saw what Errol Spence did to Chris Algieri?
What the fuck? Why are we talking about C-class fighters?
Because we're looking at
Oh my
fights
God.
and
you
that
can reach
division.
all you want, but
I'm not.
I mean,
I'm not. When it comes down to that, it's way different.
At the end of the day, Crawford has 0 names. Errol Spence has 0 names.
Victor Postol.
And then we're gonna see this year.
Victor,
So we're gonna see this year what they're made of.
Victor Postol was the guy that everybody avoided,
Mhm.
and the only way that the fight was able to be made was on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And you know why that fight against Triple G versus Dave Milieu was on pay-per-view? You know why, right? Because that fight was high risk and low reward. In this case, money.
Mhm.
That fight didn't make no money at all.
Mhm.
Low pay-per-view
Pay-per-view,
sales.
yeah.
But everybody knew that fight was a huge risk.
You know what I think about Terrence Crawford? I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip. This was actually from the PBC Tuesday. Hold on.
Terrence Crawford, thoughts on his knockout, David Benavidez, because there's a growing...
Not the only one that feels like this.
No thoughts? No thoughts. Didn't watch the fight. Sounded... Why not? Sounded boring. Heard let everybody talk about it the next day. Still sounded boring, okay? Fighting somebody with a limp, no disrespect, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I heard the boy was decent, but he was flat-footed. He suffered an injury. It wasn't even just an injury. It's a gunshot wound, you know.
So when Keith Thurman says,
he wasn't done. Hold up.
yeah, when he says something like that, it's obvious what he's doing, and he can play whatever, play it.
47, Terrence Bud Crawford's competition, zero respect. Has not been impressive. Jeff Horn, former champ.
Who said Jeff
What?
Horn?
Okay, Jeff Horn. Who's Jeff Horn? Nobody. I got so many different disrespectful things that I can say right now. I don't even want to do it because that was back then. Doesn't even matter now. But Amir Khan can beat Jeff Horn. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if Terrence Crawford can beat Amir Khan. Amir Khan is a better fighter than a lot of his competition lately. So I know there's a lot of people. I respect Terrence Bud Crawford. I just don't respect him at 147 yet.
So one thing I do remember about Keith Thurman, they were talking about if he's going to be able to match up with Terrence Crawford. He said he needs to get in line.
I mean, if he has a title, like, why does he have to get in line for?
Why does he have to get in line?
Yeah.
Because he never fought at 147. It's pretty obvious.
So if he's no threat, let's fight. If he's no threat, then let's fight. There's no risk, right?
Dude, you talk about every week about fights that can happen and fights that are not going to happen. So I don't even know what we're talking about.
I'm talking about the
one
language.
guy was with Bob Arum.
I'm talking about the
one
language.
guy's with Al Heyman.
I'm talking about the language from Keith Thurman.
So what are we talking about here? That's not going to happen.
I'm talking about what Keith Thurman says.
Keep the same energy.
He doesn't make sense at all. That's what I'm trying to catch. Like, he could talk and run his mouth with stuff like that, but it's because these reporters are not asking the right questions. That's the thing that I'm getting. Like, if he says that, like, how come you don't call him out when he said, "Oh, you need to get in line"?
So why do they keep asking Crawford if he's gonna fight all these guys, whoever he's calling out at 147? When they should know he's not gonna fight him, right?
I think Terrence
You
Crawford.
talk about this all day, like last week about Bob Arum fucking shelving.
Terrence Crawford. I think honestly, he has no choice, but he has to talk. He has to do something stupid to try to get one of those fighters' attention. For them, the PBC fighters, they could do whatever they want. They could talk, run their mouth, because they know they have the whole welterweight division.
Yeah, they have the
Hey, when did you start loving Terrence Crawford, dude?
It's not even about love. It's always about seeing.
When that happened, because like all of a sudden people want to put him on this top pound for pound list, but it's like, since when? When the hell did this shit happen?
I mean,
no, that's an honest question.
When you
'cause I don't
unified
know.
the division at 140, like nobody else has done that at welterweight, or the only other one that has, put the whole division
like you
together
said,
is
there's
Usyk.
context to everything. Right.
Undisputed.
So now that's why I'm saying now Usyk should be ahead of him in that pound for pound list, right?
That's what's so amazing about Terrence Crawford, that all these PBC fighters have the opportunity to be undisputed of a championship, but they don't allow themselves to be undisputed. That's the difference between Terrence Crawford and all the supposedly
What about
welterweights in the
Usyk?
division.
What about Usyk?
What about him?
So he's
And we'll talk.
He's ahead of Crawford now, right?
We'll talk about him when he
He's
gets to
fought
that.
better competition too.
There's a good argument for
And
that.
he's
There's
an
an
Olympic gold
argument.
medalist too.
There's an argument for both
And
fighters.
he's an Olympic gold medalist too.
Yeah, there's a both argument. Yeah,
And it's
but
not. It shouldn't even be close to me.
And at the
But
end of the
people
day-
will try to reach and do whatever
I will say
they
this
gotta
though.
say, but
I will say this though. When it comes to down about top 5 or pound for pound fighters, it's stupid to have an argument. You want me to tell you why? Who's your number 1 pound for pound fighter, Chris?
Loma.
Who's your number 1 pound for pound? Lomachenko, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really silly that we have stuff like this, but it's all conversational,
Yeah.
right? That's how great Lomachenko is.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting because even when we see this whole calendar schedule set up, we'll be able to maybe have a really pound for pound set, right? Maybe we can all have different type of mindsets. And I mentioned, and I said this too, when we were doing the pound for pound fighters, I just said it off my head. Okay, I'll say it off my head. And I said, we have this fighter fighting this month, that month, that month, that month. I think by the end of this podcast of the year, we'll have a better defining of a different type of 5 pound for pound fighters.
yeah. And just one thing on that: if you don't have Lomachenko number 1, then you just don't watch boxing. I think
Yeah.
you just don't know shit. Because if you're not gonna consider a guy who won 2 Olympic gold medals, the top guy and the fighters that he's fought
right
in his career, then something's just wrong with you. Just the 2 Olympic gold medals itself is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and the thing is about we're talking about this PBC thing is that if you look at December is an interesting month, dude, because you have Al Heyman displaying his A-side fighter, Deontay Wilder, in pay-per-view. Then you have Top Rank, in this case, Bob Arum displaying their A-side fighter on December 8th against Lomachenko. Then you have The Zone and Golden Boy displaying their Top Rank A-side fighter, in this case, Canelo.
Yeah.
So all of them are showing their pieces, right? And let's see how everybody's going to take account.
Early Christmas present for the fans.
And all
It
these
is.
are going to be on regular television.
That's what's
or,
up.
Your streaming service, The Zone.
Did you guys catch that commercial? The Zone commercial?
I saw it.
What'd you think?
I have a interesting take, dude.
It's kind of corny.
I have an after seeing that commercial. I want to say it right now, but I think a lot of people are gonna give me some blowback. But I'll just give you a preview because I will say I'll talk about it after seeing that deal. 365 million 11 fights. I think Canelo got underpaid, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna leave it as that.
I'll leave it at that.
And I'll
I wanna hear
explain.
more.
I'll explain why. I'll leave it at that. And look at this.
I'm going to say it was an okay commercial. I think we had better ideas about
I was
commercials.
already like writing notes, already getting ready. I was like, nope, just wait, just get more data. I have an interesting point about that.
I hope like in the contract somewhere like they left it open for him to get paid more. Hopefully, because there's gonna be a lot more money.
Well, he's gonna make more money in every fight off the live gates and sponsors and shit like that.
We'll see about that. But I was already looking at the numbers. And I'm like, okay, the fact that I'm having an argument about conversation about this is worth bringing it up because I feel like
he can get more money. God damn.
Nobody has brought this up at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I think Canelo got underpaid under the Zone deal, and I'll bring it up later on sometime, maybe leading up to the fight. But
I want to hear this.
So then we have speaking of fights, we had an interesting day last Friday, right, Gio?
Yeah. We went to the Contender Finale, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we knew already who was in the final before we even watched the first episode.
I apologize, guys.
But it was good. It was good. I watched the first episode. I did catch that. It was cool. It was good to build up to the actual event. The event was at the Forum. It was a finale between Sugar Shane Mosley and who?
Junior and
Adams.
And Brandon Adams, yeah.
Brandon Adams.
And before that, they actually had fights too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, they had the contenders, the members of the Contender show fighting each other.
Yeah, Keith Thurman was fighting.
Yeah, he was back in the ring.
We were there
he was a 35-year-old, right?
Yeah,
he looks just like Keith Thurman.
Yeah.
He doesn't fight like him, but
yeah, we didn't learn.
But at least he fights.
Be careful, Gio. Be careful, dude. You're the one who's talking, dude. Hit the bags,
edit this
dude.
shit out.
You're not gonna be able to interview him either, bro.
I was laughing last week. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna fight in BR." I'm like,
You heard that? Like, fight him virtually.
Yeah, I'll fight him virtually. So true.
We had a good time out there. We were there as fans.
Let's talk about this.
You heard us cheering, Chris. This is the first time you come see a fight with us.
And it's gonna be up on YouTube, man. Don't worry,
dude. We had what was it? We had free tickets, free parking, free Wi-Fi.
Yep. You drank a little bit before.
Free access to all the boxers.
Free access to everybody, dude.
This guy even got close to.
Let's go. Oh, Chris, who did you met? Who did you met, Chris?
Who did I meet? Oh man, I met some of the. I met Andre.
Some cute selfies. Huh?
We met Showtime Sean Porter. Who else did we meet? Badu Jack. We saw Abner, and I'll let you, Chris, talk about your experience with Abner Mares. Yeah, a couple names out there. Some of the contenders too.
Yeah, we met the guys from the contenders. They're all really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Sean Porter, conversation with Badu Jack, conversation with Andre Ward.
With Gio's favorite fighter.
Vargas.
There you go.
No, yeah,
I just walked by him. I was like, yeah, just kept
What's up,
walking,
Jesse?
man.
What's up, Jesse?
You know, they were interviewing him, and I was looking for you, actually.
Yeah.
And then they were interviewing him. They kept getting close, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Back up. So I just left. I'm like, nobody cares about Jesse Vargas, dude.
Man, but I was so scared when I approached Tyson Fury, dude.
There's only one Tyson.
Yeah, we called over Tyson when he was coming by.
Yeah, so just to talk about Tyson, dude. So as soon as he steps into that arena, like, he just has a commanding presence, dude.
Yeah.
You see this big-ass 6'7", British, flamboyant-looking motherfucker.
Only one Tyson.
And he's like with a couple of his homies or bodyguards, I don't
Yeah.
know. But he walks in, and everyone just turns around like, holy shit, that's Tyson.
Yeah.
And then what did we do when we saw him?
Tyson.
Oh, come on.
There's
No. We're just like, Tyson.
Tyson. Yeah.
Oh my god.
He actually looks.
He actually looked.
He was
He
walking
looked
by,
going like that.
and it seemed like he didn't want to look.
No, he
But
didn't.
then he just kind of like turned around a little bit.
He's
And he
like,
waved at
Give us
us.
a little wave, yeah.
He's like, "What's up?" And then, yeah, I'll put it up.
The
on
video was
YouTube.
funny. The
Yeah,
video was
it's
funny, dude. But yeah, we had an
Yeah,
awesome
and
day.
Chris actually got a picture with him, dude.
Yeah.
He was man enough
I was
go
man
up
enough,
there,
dude.
because Tyson was like at the front row, right?
Yeah.
He was sitting close to Shane Mosley,
He was right next to Shane Mosley.
and as soon as he sat down, everyone was just looking over there, and everyone was just kind of like, "All right, let's see who's gonna be the first brave person to go and ask for a picture," right? And people were getting close, try
Yeah,
to walk
they're
by
trying to,
and
yeah.
trying to see what's up, trying to test the waters, but yeah, nobody. I don't think many people got a picture with him.
No.
So I don't know how you did it.
No, I was just like, just go. Just, he was up and he was having a conversation with I think some people who had some big companies. And I told him, hey, can I take a picture? And he's like, I think Tyson Fury's not one of those people that wants attention.
He doesn't like the attention. Okay.
That's what I got to buy, but I was so scared, dude, being next to him. Like I've
a
never been
big
so.
bear, man.
I've never been intimidated by somebody like that.
Yeah. The thing with Tyson, like when he's over there in Great Britain, you're gonna get attention because everybody knows you. Over here in the States, you would think like not as many people know you. Like you have a little bit more privacy, or
Yeah.
you're not as bombarded as you are overseas. So I would think he'd be okay with those few people that want to come, but I guess he's not.
That's why I think he would look kind of surprised when we
Yeah.
started a little Tyson chant. Tyson chant.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Oh shit, freaking cool."
Yeah,
His
that
waves
is
and
true.
shit.
Yeah, so we met a bunch of boxers. I wanted to interview Maris specifically because I wanted to find out if he was actually going to fight or sometime in the calendar because, his name is not on the PBC calendar.
It's not.
It's not. And I asked him, you mind if I do an interview? He's like, nah, not today. I'm just having like a casual day, which I don't blame him. Sometimes that bothers fighters. And talked to Sean Porter. I think Sean Porter's conversation was interesting because I told him if he was going to have his fight name on Tuesday, he's like, oh, I'm not sure, man. And then when I saw this, I'm like, really, dude? I'm watching you on
That's
TV.
what they've all been saying. Huh? Mikey said it too.
They're trying to keep it under
it's not
wraps.
official
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sean himself too. He didn't want to be interviewed.
Yeah,
we understood, but
yeah,
he
he
was
didn't.
chill about it.
Yeah,
he
he
was real
was-
chill. He was
yeah.
just like,
The interview happened by having a conversation with him.
yeah, because we were
Pretty much.
talking, and then you asked him for an interview, and he was just like, nah, I'm just more so just trying to chill, And he was like on his phone and shit,
Yeah.
texting. And then we got some pictures with them, and then just chopping it up. It's pretty cool, man.
Next time we'll be ready.
So what was funny was that when we were watching the last fight right against Shane Mosley Jr. and Brandon Adams, I wanted to record the last 10 seconds. That's why I ran towards.
Yeah, I saw you.
So when I heard the bell, I quickly ran, and I was recording, and they hugged it out. Brandon Adams, goes like that, and then I see Tyson Fury get up, or I record Tyson Fury
Perfect
go like
timing.
Oh,
this.
you gotta see that video.
Yeah, you should see it. Oh, I haven't showed it to you. Yeah, I'll show it to you. I see Tyson Fury get up, and then I want to get more close up in the ring, right? So I go to the first row, and then I want to take a close up, and then I stop because some kid next to me wants to meet somebody right next to me who I didn't know who it was. And I'm like, all right, let me stop recording.
Like who's
And
here
I'm
right
like-
next to me?
I'm like, he's like, hey, can you get my phone and take a picture? I'm like, who are you trying to take a picture? And right next to me is Shane Mosley.
Senior.
Yeah, right next to him. I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, yeah, let me get your phone. And I took a picture, and then I took a picture with him. But it
Oh,
sucks,
you didn't ask
man.
him anything?
Nah, because he was, like
Yeah,
his
his
son
moment.
just didn't let his hands go.
Yeah. I would have asked him. I was like, hey, how do you feel to get Mayweather right on the kisser?
Oh, I should have told him that. Yeah, I mean, that was lovely. But I think what I was more interested in the whole event, I wanted to see Andre Ward.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to see Andre Ward, how he looked. I think when Bernard Hopkins had an interview with Andre Ward,
Pause.
one time Bernard Hopkins went up to Andre Ward like this. Just to see if he was like, hey, how you doing? He went like that. Just to see if he's like conditionally. Because this was when
okay.
he was like off for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Andre Ward, hey, dude, you look a little bit thin, dude. Like, he's like, nah, man, I just been like,
Taking
exercising and stuff
okay.
like that.
Mm-mm. You don't walk around a
He's
little
in-
thin if
he-
you're a boxer. I
yeah,
don't think so.
he-
I don't think so.
He's preparing for something, dude.
Something's up.
Something's up.
I mean, somebody just jumped into his division, right?
Yeah.
Never know.
So, anything else you want to take away from the Contender, Gio?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys what you guys think about the fights, because the fights are pretty good.
The fights are pretty good. Especially, I feel like the undercards are very good.
Yeah, there's a lot of action.
Yeah.
There's a lot to lose. That's the thing for all those fighters. You know, it's their last chance.
Yeah.
They were in a thing, and you know, there's promoters there. People are watching. You know, they want to make a name for themselves, but you don't have a name at all.
Yeah, you can tell, dude. Like, these guys are just fighting with everything. You like that last fight. I feel like the Adams won it just pure heart, dude.
Yeah, hard.
He just out hustled. Mostly frustrated him, and at the end, he got the victory.
Yeah, and I was happy for Freddie Roach because you know last week we saw
Freddie at the fights and
Freddie at the fights.
Took a loss,
and this will give him back in the ring. And nice to see Freddie Roach try to train this guy. And we had a Southern California battle, you know, because Jay Mosley, I think he's from Santa Monica, and Brandon Adams is from LA. So it was a cool final, but man, such a one-sided final, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Brandon Adams was just too. Like Gio said, too much heart. He's a lot of activity. You could tell Junior was trying to keep him at bay, trying to box, trying to let his skills talk. But nah, he was just Brandon Adams just fought a great fight.
Yeah, he just had Jay Mosley showed too much respect for Brandon Adams' power. That's what ended up happening. You know, he was more willing to take the risk going inside rather than Shane Mosley using the advantage, and that's what shocked Shane Mosley from not being winning the fight.
Yeah. So something I liked about this event, Chris, we talked about this, how now like we can't see boxing as fans like 100% the way we used to. We go to these events, we kind of have to network, we kind of have to do some interviews here and there. But I like that at least in the beginning, at least for the undercards, we were able to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to see how silly me, Gio, and Gay, we were screaming "Tira Lope" and just having fun. And
triple jab, triple hook, hit him in the face, hit him in the fucking face. I'm like, dude, stop.
When he tripled up on that, hit him in the fucking face. That's when I lost.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh man,
I got tired of that guy. That's why I said triple hook, triple hook, triple hook. Dude, who does triple hooks, dude? I can't even who does a triple jab, dude? I can't even put that in my context.
Try that shit in that VR game, dude.
Yeah.
Triple jab.
Fucking gas out in
that guy
30 seconds.
That guy told me to hit him in the face.
People talk, man. People talk. And it's
hit him in the kidney.
I was going to say hit him in the pancreas. Something more specific.
Dude, when Chris is hurt, he's going to remember that voice. And he's going to hear that guy's voice.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's a good corner, man, dude. Hit him in the face.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Other than that, it was pretty sweet being there. So hopefully people, if you're listening to the podcast right now, just make sure you test that Epic's 14-day free trial and watch the show.
Yeah.
Because even the show is good. It's and everything was good.
Yeah, the thing about the show is it's not just about the fight inside. It's you get to see their families, you get to see the fight, their struggle.
This is the real.
That's what makes it. To me, that's what wins me over. To become a fan of a fighter, not just the skills and what he does in the ring. It's just where he came from. What's the struggle?
This is the real American Idol.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's about boxing, right? The show, but the show itself is like a real life show, like you said. It's what do they call those shits?
Reality.
Yeah, there you go. A reality show, and it's crazy because a lot of them had crazy ass stories. Like one guy was in prison for a long time. A lot of these guys are poor. They have kids. There was one Mexican boxer. He talked to you a little bit about his experience being the only. He was the only Mexican guy, right?
Yeah,
boxer, right, in that show.
Yeah,
and you can see it in the first episode.
Dude. Everybody had their own stories,
right?
And I feel like that's why everybody was gunning for Shane Mosley Jr., right?
Oh yeah, everybody.
This pretty boy, rich boy. His dad is a professional Hall of Famer. He didn't have it hard like us, and everybody was just gunning after him. And he made it all the way to the final.
Yeah.
And he just got out-hustled in that last fight, man. But we'll see where this takes him, Shane Mosley Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and good luck for Brandon Adams because he ended up winning how much?
$250K.
$250,000.
And I think he got a top 10 ranking.
A lot of fans, dude. And
he had a lot of fans.
Hometown always helps.
So we'll keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. And so now, speaking of that event, then the next day we ended up having a beautiful day with the Zone.
Ooh, It was nice.
So we saw. Let's talk about where you saw it, Chris. Where do you saw it at?
Man, I saw it in my room.
You saw it in your room?
On my bed. I bought a speaker, little Best Buy speaker that lights up. I got all comfortable.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Like, I was just super relaxed. Obviously, like, would have loved to have seen it with, like, a lot of people, but, like, this is the second best thing. You could just be, like, after working 40-plus hour week, you know, it's just nice just to be in bed relaxed.
Where you saw it, Gio?
Yeah, I saw it at home, and it was funny because I forgot that it was going to start so early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you guys texted in the group message, and you guys were talking about a fight. I think you were at the beach or something.
Yeah.
And you were talking about a fight, and I was in bed still. I was fucking sleepy. And I just turned on this TV, dude. I just turned on the Zone, and I was in bed all
With
cozy.
my subscription, right?
Yep. What was the password? No, don't get that. Yeah, but I was all cozy. And actually, the first fights, I just put it on in the background. I just, like, turned it on, and I just, like, laid back down, and I was kind of half asleep, dude.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I watched it at home.
It's funny because, like, in between the rounds, we're texting each other, how do you have it? Like, and then
The fight itself, I got up for that shit, and then I was it was an interesting fight.
It got me
We'll
hyped.
get into that,
the
dude.
entrance and
We'll
all
get
that,
into
all the
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And, you know, and I was thinking, like, if I do host the Canelo the Zone fight, which I will host it, there's a corner in my room, in the living room, that you can't see the TV.
Oh, okay.
So whoever sits right there is gonna have to pull up their phone and watch it from there.
We're going to put Alexis there.
You know, you should do it like at the bars and shit, restaurants. Just have like TVs everywhere, but you could have like tablets and phones. Just put them like
Yeah.
all around your living room.
Yeah,
That'd be sick.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on the fight, Chris?
It was a good fight. I think Tony Bellew, like, fought his heart out. He fought like a good tactical fight. Like, we knew, like, that it was a marathon and he was running out, you know, of.
Yeah.
But, like, he was winning every single mile up until, like, I want to say the 6th, like the 5th or 6th. You could just start seeing, you know, Usyk's class take over. But I think it was great strategy by Tony. He was, like, counter punching. He was, you know, he's fighting so good. So good. And obviously, like, man, Usyk is just a beast.
What about you, Gio?
Yeah, you sound like the British commentators. That's the one thing that annoys me about the Zone, you know, the British commentators. Because when I was watching the fight, I saw the complete opposite. You know, obviously, you know, Usyk is a smart guy. Like, he's like Lomachenko in that sense. Like, they'll try to bait you in, throw certain punches, but at the same time, he wasn't really getting hit. The angles are just crazy because every time he would get so close to Bellew, and he was there to get hit supposedly, right? But he would just find a way to, you know, do a crazy ass angle, and Bellew couldn't hit him, right? So yeah, the British commentators kept saying, "Oh, he's doing so well," blah blah blah, blah. But you know, slowly I just saw Usyk picking him apart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying.
I wanted to mute the. I was just like,
I'm not saying,
but and I even texted you guys like, dude, he's gonna get stopped.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not saying Bellew was gonna
way.
win the fight, but you can tell, like, those were like the last rounds he had in him, and he was winning those rounds barely. You know, he wasn't dominating Usyk, but he was just like winning those rounds. But you could still tell, like, oh, Usyk's gonna, like, his Bellew's energy, his, you know, it's gonna run out. But yeah, I think it was still a very good tactical fight.
That's what great fighters do, man. Like Lomachenko, like Canelo, like Usyk. Like, you think you got him, but you really don't.
Yeah.
Right. And as soon as he stepped on that pedal, because I feel like in those rounds he was just looking for little holes here and there, and once he found it, it was just like over. Like, you could tell. It was
Yeah,
just,
like his jab was like out there, even though it wasn't hitting. It was just making that distance. Like, it was just.
Because he wasn't even connecting any lefts at first,
Mm-hmm.
and then but once those lefts connected, it was a wrap.
Yeah, to me, like, this was like a true, like, battle of inches. Like, you could just tell, like, the inches were like closing up on Bellew. Like, you can tell it was coming. You just didn't know when.
And that's the one thing that I always mention, like, when calling the all-star boxing fights, just the balance, right? The footwork.
Balance.
That's what all the great fighters have, dude. Like, if you think about it, they're always within range of landing a punch, even if they're supposedly on defense. But, you know, they find a way to bait you in, to make you come in, and
Yeah,
that's basically what I saw from Usyk. You know.
And I was I was scoring the fight.
Yeah.
I was texting you guys, and
I didn't even bother. Yeah, Baloo was up, but I didn't bother because
Yeah,
it wasn't gonna matter at the end of the day.
You know why it didn't matter? I have to do this. This was from last week's podcast.
In a way, it's like now you need to go in there with all this belief that you can win this fight. You're going up against Usyk. You know this guy's he's no joke. He's very talented, very technical.
I think I have Usyk winning it probably in the 8th round.
Oh,
yeah.
Knockout.
Technical knockout.
This guy was ready.
I was ready. And that's what ended up happening. Baloo was winning 4-3 on my card, but you could see like it's kind of like the Andre Ward and Kovalev fight, and you could see kind of like the Triple G and Canelo where like the story changes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Halfway,
Mm-hmm.
and Usyk started this. And the thing is, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Baloo, but I think Usyk showed so much respect.
Oh, too much respect. Yeah, I agree.
To Tony Baloo. And I think that's what happened. He didn't
During or after the fight?
all of it, even before the face-off, even during the taunting and the fights, all all that, man. But you know what hurt me, man, and was when he got knocked out. When he got knocked out, he saw Eddie Hearn. You saw Eddie Hearn?
Yeah.
Like he was trying to lift up like his head, like he was outside the ring. He was just trying to like help him, but. That's what sucks about boxing, and I mentioned this to you in the last podcast that we had two stories. One, Usyk wants to challenge himself, go to heavyweight. And then the other story is that we have a fighter who's going to retire, but it sounds like he's already he's already done. It sounds like mentally he's done already.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
But besides the knockout, I feel like it was a good way to go out because you're fighting like a guy who's supposed to be much better than you. And it was, supposedly competitive.
And it's
so
a fight.
bad.
It's a fight that he learned something about himself. That's one thing that I take away Tony Baloo, and hopefully everybody takes that into consideration. Like if you watch Tony Baloo as a person before all these other fights, he has been a character that he doesn't make weight. He's just something out of character, But in this fight, he was humbled. He had to humble himself. So the day before the weigh-in, he was like. Rocked. He was like in shape, and everybody was talking about this guy is in shape for the first time ever because he knew mentally like he was gonna die in the ring, and that's what ended up happening. He died in the ring. That's why he's like, I'm done with boxing, and that's what I'm concerned with. What's gonna happen with Pacquiao? Let's see if he retires on himself or if the boxing game retires him, just like what happened with Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah, but I give Baloo credit for taking that fight, taking
Major.
that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy because I ran into the replay of him versus Stevenson. It was Adonis. Yeah, and he got rocked in that shit.
Yeah. He got knocked out. Yeah.
But then he kind of turned his career around, and then he goes out like this. But I guess that's what people are gonna take from him. That he never ran from a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
He always took on the biggest challenges, and sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen like all over social media a lot of people like he has just so much love and so much respect. And at the end of the day, that's something nice that you can look forward to after your career. To know that you're still loved and that all the work that you put in that square circle was appreciated.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you always talk about what's his name? Usyk and Anthony Joshua, right?
Ooh, yes.
But you know what I was thinking? Which is probably even a bigger challenge. Like literally Tyson versus Usyk.
Because it's more of a boxing match.
British, if he wants to invade that British market,
Mm-hmm.
I think those are two big names that he could potentially face. Like we always mention the length, he's smaller than those guys. Like I don't think he can hurt those guys, honestly.
Usyk?
Yeah, I don't think he could hurt those guys at heavyweight. Because Usyk doesn't really have that pop. He's like Lomachenko. He'll beat you with
Skills.
a bundle of punches,
Mm-hmm.
right? But heavyweight division is just different, dude. This is a different ballgame.
It's a different thing.
That's why we're saying. That's why you guys are saying Wilder, right? Everybody's saying Wilder because of that pop, that big right hook, dude. That heavyweight division is just different.
I was actually seeing. We'll talk about that later. But Usyk, he shows us why he has a gold medal. Because he was instantly like controlling the ring, cutting up the ring, and Baloo like towards the last rounds, Baloo couldn't run anymore. Mm-hmm. And it was not because he was gassed out. It was because he was the boogeyman. He was just clearly cutting up the corners.
And it's not like Usyk was throwing a bunch of punches, dude.
Yeah, it
he was
wasn't
just
like
stalking him.
He was
fainting,
stalking.
fainting, and then when Bellew tried to throw, he wasn't even there anymore. He was like off to the side, you know.
Yeah, I agree. He wasn't. Bellew wasn't taking a lot of punches. It was just that distance was just getting, smaller and smaller and smaller up like to the point where like you're at the end of that punch, inches. And I was very impressed.
Yeah, we were both impressed with both fighters.
Yeah.
I was really impressed more with Tony Bellew. Like, I was so pumped up with his entrance and all that. So, props to Tony Bellew. Hopefully, he enjoys retirement. And interesting what's going to happen with Usyk. So,
yeah.
What do you want with Usyk next?
Well, obviously, like he needs a challenge. Because after if you guys saw the interview, they asked him, like, was this the best, like, version of yourself? And he's all like, he didn't want to be rude, but he kind of said, like, it was, like, okay. Like, it was the best version of me today. Which, like, he's trying to say, like, I have more to prove. Like, I can still be challenged. I can still be tested more.
Yeah, I don't feel like he fought a great fight.
He didn't. Yeah, he fought like
it was enough though.
It was a lot of respect shown.
Yeah,
and then also the crowd is against you. You go into a country, basically the whole stadium is against you, and it wasn't his best fight, but it was still great. Yeah. That's the crazy part about it.
Yeah, it's like a trademark like job. Like, yeah, but I want to see him tested against the heavyweights. Obviously, I don't think he should jump in there with like a Joshua or a Wilder, even if you're just yet. I think he should get like a fight against a contender in the heavyweight division and then work his way up.
Yeah, they have a lot of heavyweights. The Zone has a lot of heavyweights to marinate that final fight between Anthony and Joshua. So it'll be interesting what happens. Who do you want, or what do you want from Usyk, Gio?
Yeah, I feel like he should just stay at cruiserweight for a couple more fights.
What is it? What is?
There's nothing, but there's nothing at cruiserweight. But I don't think it's smart to move up to heavyweight. Like I said, these guys are much bigger, and then there's still unfinished business.
That's the same thing we're saying with Mikey Garcia.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like the whole Mikey Garcia thing.
No, but there's still unfinished business at heavyweight. The Joshua Wilder and Tyson Fury. I think those guys have to fight each other first, and then it'll be smart for Usyk to try to sneak in there. Once these guys have a tough fight like that,
Mm-hmm.
Wilder and Tyson are gonna be tested in December.
Let me play matchmaker and I'll prepare you mentally. Even the people who are listening to this. I'll bet you $100. That you don't have to bet me anything, but now I'll bet you $100 that Anthony Joshua and Wilder is not gonna happen like this upcoming year. And
I shouldn't. If you're Joshua, it shouldn't.
It's not, but it's gonna happen in 2020, and I'll tell you why. Do you know what big event has happened in 2020, Chris? By any chance?
2020. Mm-hmm. Big event like
just a major,
major
in the world.
I'm just thinking elections. That's the only thing I can think of right now.
Yep, elections.
Okay. But what does that have to do with boxing?
What does that have to do with boxing, right?
Yeah.
USA.
Okay.
In this case, you could do a political thing between USA versus like England.
Aren't the Olympics 2020 or 2022?
I think it's 2020.
Right? 2020.
Yeah, 2012, 2016, 2020.
Yeah, LA.
So you can make it something like.
Are we getting 20 or 26?
26. Pure random shit, man. But so I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Where that can help the promotion for that fight.
This is where that M word comes into play.
Yeah. So Wilder versus Joshua should happen in 2020, and it should happen in fall because November is the election, and they can have it fight. And who fights in November? Joshua does. So it'll be interesting what happens. But that's just my take. But who should Usyk do? Fight somebody in the heavyweight already.
A contender.
Let's see how you match up.
Yeah. I don't think he could be any of them.
Any of who? The top names or just contender names?
Those three.
It's because okay.
It's too small, dude.
Well, but the thing
is, it's different when you're getting hit by a guy who's 200 pounds and a guy who's 240, 230.
All right, let's say they put him up against a Povetkin.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's a doable fight.
That's a
smaller
Styles
guy.
makes fights.
Yeah, but he has a punch, so that would be a good one.
Yep. Yeah, but just imagine Joshua fucking landing one of those branches on his face. Nah, it's gonna be bad, dude.
To me, anything that Usyk going to the heavyweight division is just giving the heavyweight division just another name, makes it more interesting. Yeah. It's been a while since we had a.
He's a much better boxer than all those guys. He would outbox them. But if this was like different divisions, like a welterweight going up to like middleweight, then I'll give him a chance. But heavyweight's just
heavyweight.
Wilder has made a name of just landing that big punch on people.
And yeah, the heavyweight's a different ball game. We've
It
seen
is.
Roy Jones, one of the like best, technical fighters out there, go up and it happens. Like that's that heavyweight punch.
All I'm saying is, go ahead, go inside the circus, because there's a lot of things going on in the heavyweight division.
It's a lot of money up there.
Yeah, it's a lot of
That's
money.
good.
And a lot of fights is what I'm trying to take away with Usyk. So he was not in my picture with heavyweights. Oh, by all means, you are invited.
He keeps saying Joshua. If you're Usyk, if you're his promoter, who do you put him with?
What do you mean?
Like Usyk says that he wants to go after Joshua.
Give him a King Kong Ortiz, dude.
That would be a good one, yeah.
Yeah, because he's fading out and getting
He's small,
older.
yeah.
Yeah, well, there is a heavyweight fighting this in the zone this week on Saturday. Gerald Baby Miller,
Mhm.
Big Baby Miller. So you can match him up with that. And so, but there's other fighters. Dylan White
Mm-hmm.
is there. He fought Joshua, so they can have him fight. So there's other heavyweights that could happen. So
Yeah, but if anything, we're gonna get those fights at the end of next year.
yeah. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting what happens with Usyk. But I'm excited. More
He's
excitement.
moved ahead on my pound for pound list, ahead of Crawford.
Save it to the show.
For real. All right, so with that, we're going to move on to Survios Creed. Chris, you want to tell us about your experience?
Yeah, interesting experience. Thankfully, I didn't get lost. Took the metro to get there. Good idea to take the metro. You know why? The train station from the Survios company is about a block away.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Chris, can you explain what Survios is?
Survios, they are the program company that created the BR virtual reality game for Creed, Rise to Glory. That game came out sometime in September of this year. So we were able to get a meeting with them. In this case, we got a meeting. Thank you, Jade Hurdle. She's the media relations specialist who hooked it up with the interview. And she hooked it up with the interview with the senior software engineer of Eugene Elkin. So senior programmer there, software developer there that helped develop the game Creed. And when I was there, it was kind of intimidating, dude.
Mm.
I texted you the picture.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, like the entrance.
You're like, what am I getting myself
Same
into?
entrance. I'm like, what am I getting? Yeah, what am I getting myself into? Because when I got in, I had to sign a waiver because you can't record,
Okay.
stuff that goes on. I get that, but as far as what I got with the interview, I'm gonna put some sound bites. I'll put a minute. In this case, this is basically like the making of the game. So I'll let you guys listen to it, and it's about a minute. This is the senior Eugene Elkin.
Is there anything difficult about making this game compared to other games by any chance?
It was definitely a challenge because we had to really figure out how to do certain things for them to feel good. That was the most important thing. When you punch something, it needs to feel juicy. And when you get punched, it needs to feel impactful. And that's why you might have heard us talk about over and over about a phantom melee attack. And this is the technologies that came from our experimentation of certain collision techniques. Of like when you punch something, that your in-game hand stopped on something, but then it doesn't. Your mind is not freaking out. Oh, I just lost control in the game. A real game in real life is here. Why is the in-game glove over there? So that's when we started showing the ghost hand and kind of, oh, I have to come back and get my hand. And it kind of starts selling a bunch of things to you, like when you make contact with something, and then we can rattle the in-game hand without your hand actually moving in real world. But it starts selling the idea of a punch to your brain, and we kept going farther and farther with it. I'm like, how do we get hit in the game? How do we show that you're getting hit? And what do you do when you get hit? So you just got hit and that's it? That's when we started getting a whole knockout thing. So you have to start matching poses. And that way you're starting to recreate not just a punching mechanic of a boxing match, but also the other part, you getting hit and stumbling, and you have to actually act it out. It becomes super interesting to watch when people play because they're acting out both sides of a spectrum of hitting and getting hit.
Yeah, when you get knocked out.
So what happens in that? He's talking about when you get knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you get knocked out? Like, what type of pose do you have? You're going like that, right?
Yeah. Falling back.
Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to pose with the same knockout, like the image. So it's like,
Oh
you know
my
how,
God, dude.
yeah, So you have to be in that position and then get ready to come back in the game.
Adrian Broner, 619.
619. Yeah, 619. And what was so good about, you know how I talk about what do you take away when you play FIFA and NBA Live? Like, do you bring that into the real world? That's one thing that I was kind of concerned about, whether or not they had any input, or did they just went ahead and had fun and just created a boxing game into their own simulated world. And I think this interview kind of puts me in perspective with virtual reality, with all the companies who make it, because it's bringing reality into a simulated world. In this case, the people who are creating this world have to experience that world to match up what reality is in the simulation, right? What I mean by that is that, so the people who work there, Survios, during that day, they were going to have their boxing training. So they train boxing twice a week. The game developers.
Oh yeah, that's sick.
Newfound respect for this company, dude.
That's cool.
And I tell people like it's always easy to talk all that smack, but when you start hitting the bags, you get a different perception, feel of the sport.
That reminds me of like talking about even the Creed movie, Michael B. Jordan. You know, I'm sure they go through that too, having to train like a boxer to play the role.
Yeah, so that kind of like helped me understood that they actually wanted to be in the shoes of this world, to be part of this world and be able to bring it into this simulated world. Because, you know, you want to make sure that the game is kind of like the same real. It's not going to be all real, but you could pose like when you're throwing the jab. Yeah. When you're getting knocked out, your poses looks like you're getting knocked out. And coincidentally, that day when we met them, they ended up releasing their update that's coming up in November 27th. So the game is going to have an update. In this case, you're going to be able to play 2 new characters. That's Drago's Big Nasty son. That's coming up in Creed 2. And Wheeler.
Stuntman Wheeler. Andre Ward.
SOG. And if you look at the character on his tattoo, I think it says Andre Ward SOG.
Oh, that's what's on his arm?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Andre Ward could say something, that he's now a fighter that's been in the video game since 2011, you know, a real fighter. So there's a lot of things that I take away from that meeting, but I want to play another soundbite. In this case, it's kind of like a message to the community that the developer wants to tell the community. Okay. If I could just play it right now.
It is a great workout. This is definitely not gonna replace your going to the gym or hitting the bag. Right. But it's a great supplement, and it's something where I think you mentioned it a little earlier before you started taping. Is there's certain games, well, most of the games you play in a console, any kind of sports game, your real world knowledge doesn't directly transfer into the game. Whereas in this game, it can. We have a video out. We put a professional boxer. She's an Olympic boxer, and she's never played this game before. And she put her on like the champion difficulty, and she kicked ass, like she rocked it. And that's really interesting. That your real world knowledge, your muscle memory, can really impact how you play the game, which is very unique. I think it's not a very common thing we've seen.
I think that's one thing I used to.
And that who he's talking about is Michaela Mayer. She's from Top Rank Promotions. She's an Olympian from 2016, and she's 8-0 with 4 knockouts. So if you go to their Instagram and Survios, you'll see her test out the game. Cool. And she's killing it, dude. But you can see how a person in that real world is put in that simulated phase, how it helps them with their cognitive condition and that mindset, being able to like play the game easy because that's what they know in their life.
That's their world. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's pretty sweet that we have game developers, trying to bring something that we always want, a video game, but now even better, simulated. So it was nice to have that interview, and I did the whole tour of the facility, and an interesting atmosphere, really open, nice people. But I was telling them if they're gonna be able to do another boxing like game in the near future. They have another game coming out. But one thing that's so cool about what they told me is that each game that they make, they always take away pieces of that and bring it into their next game. So they learn from it, bring it to the next game, whatever they make. And they are going to make more updates.
Okay, cool. More characters maybe?
Yeah, and I was asking, like, who are you going to bring? And they know who they're going to bring, but they couldn't tell me who it is. But I don't know. Maybe
You're gonna have to see the movie then, huh?
maybe you're gonna have to watch the movie, or hopefully it's some old Rocky characters, right?
Oh, that was gonna be my second guess. See Mr. T in there or something?
Or the dad of Creed,
That'd be cool.
or Rocky. So it'll be cool to see what happens. But the meeting was nice, and we were thankful, and I made sure that this was the emphasis about focusing outside the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we'll talk about the giveaways later on. But we've been trying to promote a lot of
Against the
Creed
ropes.
Against the
Against
ropes.
DA ropes.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the giveaway later on. So if you're listening to, just hang on. We'll get to that later on. But props to Survios. And they have in somewhere by Delamo Fashion Mall, I believe, like a little arcade area
Mm-hmm.
where you could play out and test out all their games.
Oh, okay.
So game night.
Game night.
Gonna get all the guys and we're gonna go.
Fuck the
Just, uh,
podcast. Let's go over there.
Yeah. And we're gonna play some Creed and the other games too. So look forward to that.
I'm down.
But thankful that I got this interview with them, and this is not the end. We're gonna be talking with them later on.
Cool.
So that's that.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris, for that special. Awesome. So with that, guys, we're gonna move on to random news that's going on in the boxing world. Let's start with Chris. Chris, any boxing news that you have that you want to share?
Yes, I do. I have some interesting news.
It's gonna be good, I can tell.
So let's talk about. That came really late. The
did.
stacked up card for December 1st
Mm-hmm.
at Los Angeles Showtime pay-per-view.
We talked about this, Chris. Like, should we get the tickets now? You're like,
Should we
no.
get the tickets now? Oh, I don't know. So let's talk about the main event. Deontay Wilder versus Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Co-main event. Jarrett Hurd versus Jason Wilburn.
Wellborn.
And then third fight, King Khan Ortiz. The fourth fight, Joe Joyce. They have Chris Oriola fight there.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Guerrero fighting there.
The Ghost.
And Chavez Jr. versus Angulo.
Angulo.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So Chavez Jr. is gonna fight on the
On the non-pay-per-view.
On the non.
He's gonna have that
But
3
it's
p.m. fight.
We better get there early then.
Yeah. So in this case, you know how sometimes people don't show up at 3 p.m.?
Mm-hmm. People are gonna show up at 3 p.m.
Yeah, you got to show up at 3 p.m. So props
That's crazy.
to... Yeah, this is...
Yeah, because I hadn't heard anything from Chavez Jr. and Angulo. I knew they were gonna fight, but I didn't know it was on the undercard.
Yeah, and Showtime, they're not messing around during that day. That's their day, because besides that fight, undercard, on their regular Showtime subscription, they're going to have Adonis Stevenson versus Alexander Bosdick.
Ghost yeah.
Yeah, for the lightweight heavyweight title. So that day is their day, Showtime pay-per-view.
But that's a different.
That's a different venue.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like Quebec City. He always fights in his
Yeah.
place. So that's my first part of the random news, and I'll get to the other ones. But if you want to go ahead.
Gio, got any random news?
Oh, let me see. Oh, Freddie Roach is gonna be on Tyson's corner.
Oh, that's right. And so we've been talking a lot about Freddie Roach. Back in our All-Star event, he took an L. He rebounded back at the Contender. Where we're going to see him, he's going to go back to the losing column. Is he going to keep winning?
Yeah, and it was interesting because we talked to him
Mm-hmm.
because I saw pictures of Tyson at the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, hey, Tyson's he be hanging out at your gym, huh? He's like, oh yeah, he's been training there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then I just read this today that he's gonna be in Tyson's corner as a quote unquote cut man.
Yeah.
So should be interesting. And I actually saw an interview by Wilder already. He responded to that and just talking to shit.
He
He's
just
like, he's changing his team for a reason, blah blah blah. He's trying to add people, trying to get into his head.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I got 4 more.
He's like, I don't need anybody, man. I already got my team.
Well, he has that. As long as he has that hand, that's all he needs
That
right
windmill.
now. That windmill. So 4 more things to talk about, but 2 more things related to Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. So this Saturday, Showtime Boxing is going to have their first episode of All Access, Wilder and Fury.
should be good.
That's this Saturday at 7 p.m. on Showtime. And then this news. I just found this out today, dude.
What is this? What's this? What's this?
Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury to be carried in movie theaters.
Ooh.
Wow.
That changes everything. Does that mean you're gonna
I think
pop your popcorn?
For the first time, I may go to the movie theaters to watch a fight.
Oh man.
Tickets for Wilder versus Fury can be purchased online by visiting Phantom Events or at participating theater box offices.
But if you go see it in
The
theater,
prices
you won't
good?
get to see Chavez Jr., bro.
Ah, shit.
So are we deciding now? We're gonna go to the.
What do you think about that?
I think
It's interesting.
Because
That
I'm
is
going to tell you
interesting.
something
Yeah.
interesting
I
about
don't
it.
think anyone's gonna go. Shit.
it's not gonna. Yeah, they're not big names in the States, so not a lot of people are gonna go.
Here's what I'm going to say about this. Some people may say that I don't like Canelo or I'm a Canelo hater or anything like that, but let me put things in perspective. Canelo versus Mayweather. Miguel Cotto versus Mayweather. No,
Mhm.
Miguel Cotto versus Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
Chavez Jr. versus Canelo. Both Triple G fights I've seen in the movie theaters
Yeah.
for Canelo. One thing that I do want to take away with the zone is that I'm not going to no longer see Canelo in the movie theaters anymore.
Mm.
Sucks. And that excitement inside the movie theaters to see it in the big screen, I'm telling you, you got to experience it. I can't stress it how crazy it is to watch it in the movie theaters. And just that atmosphere to be around people talking shit, looking like they're going to get
I don't know if I like
fist
that type
fights.
of atmosphere.
Yeah,
I like
it's
chilling.
hostile, dude.
I like chilling,
Nah.
sitting back,
You can't chill while you're watching
eating my
boxing.
pizza.
Nah.
No, but with your friends, it's different than with other fucking people who annoy you. But no, actually, I wanted to ask you guys that last week, but we didn't have time to get into it.
Yeah.
What does the zone do for businesses?
What do
That
you
is
mean?
Bars,
true, yeah.
restaurants, even movie theaters.
Because pay-per-view is business for everybody.
Because you can't watch a Canelo fight anymore unless that business subscribes to it and somehow finds a way. Through smart TVs you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on the zone. But I don't know, man.
So all these
It's-
bars are gonna have
it's
to
gonna
buy.
be different, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have to buy their Fire Sticks or get a smart TV. And I'm sure maybe there's gonna be like a business subscription.
You're at Buffalo Wild Wings. Hey, you mind if I put my
My Chromecast real
my
quick.
Chromecast in that?
What's your
big
Wi-Fi?
TV? What's the Wi-Fi
We
password?
can mirror our phones.
Yeah.
Oh
Hey, I'm
my
watching them fight over.
goodness.
No, that's what's gonna happen.
It's
We can start
crazy,
charging
dude.
them.
That's what's gonna happen.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, you mind if I bring my TV in here real quick?
Let me bring
Nope. True that, dude. Crazy.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. So that's that. All access this Saturday at 7 p.m. Tyson versus Fury. That's the first episode. Second thing is that you can purchase tickets if you can't watch the fight. If you can't pay for the pay-per-view, go to the movie theaters.
Yeah, we're gonna be. That's gonna be our decision then.
It's going to be an interesting debate about that, but we'll be for sure seeing it. The third news I want to talk about is the zone. They're going to have an undercard this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe Rosado is going to be in it. Brandon Rios is going to be in it. Clarissa Chios, she's bad. Jarrell Baby Miller.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all going to fight on that card.
That's this
Interesting.
Saturday, right?
This
I
Saturday
want to see this.
in
Yeah.
Kansas.
You guys gonna watch?
On the zone?
Yeah, as
Yeah.
long
Yeah, I work, but I'm gonna take an hour break so I can go
Damn,
see
man.
this fight.
yeah.
Excuse myself.
Don't work December 1st.
Oh yeah.
I shouldn't be saying this, huh? For
No, we're not working
Edit
December
this out.
1st.
December 16th,
We're not working December 16th.
December 8th.
December 1.
Oh, God,
December
we're not working all
8th,
December.
December
Shit, dude.
15. You can
December 22nd.
you
We're
have
not.
to. You cannot work
Ask
4
for
straight.
vacation,
You
dude.
cannot work 4 straight Saturdays in December, dude.
We're not.
I don't work on Saturdays. So yeah, you have you're gonna have to come up with some 4 excuses.
Well, I work
Just
Monday
get
through
sick.
Friday. I have it's just a second job.
You have to
I
break,
hope Carlos is not listening
Be
to
sick.
this.
break a bone.
Shout out Gut.
Break a bone.
You know he likes all our YouTube
He
videos and
does.
shit, right? So
He will.
That's
He's gonna
funny.
listen to this. Yeah,
Yeah.
December stacked with boxing.
he's not listening. Don't worry.
Yeah. Psych.
Does he listen an hour and 18 minutes in?
We'll find out.
Only
Stay
real
tuned.
fans do. We'll see how real of a fan he is, man.
And the last news is kind of I'm trying to focus now on like making sure that the last news affects what's going to happen in our next week's podcast.
Yeah.
So the last news is this Monday and this Tuesday we're going to have the Pacquiao versus Adrian Broner press
Yes.
conference.
Do you know the locations of those press conferences?
New York on Monday, Los Angeles on Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Hmm?
This coming Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
L.A.
LA.
time?
I-
Midday ish.
Go find your sources.
Oh man, I'm
Go
gonna
get your access.
I'm gonna have to work the afternoon shift or something.
Yep. So that's that. And so let's talk about. We're interested in doing a giveaway for this December 22, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna
one
have
last thing. I wanted to mention this because this is crazy. Fuck, I didn't even write it down. But Soto Caras against Nico Macias. This happened last week, I think.
yeah.
Late as news, dude.
Yeah, but it's still worth mentioning, dude.
Go
He
ahead.
broke the record for punches landed and punches thrown. I actually posted on our Instagram the actual numbers, but it was over 1,000 punches
Dang, phone booth season for
landed
real.
and over 3,000 thrown. Something like that. It was crazy, dude. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. If you want to break that record, you definitely have to go into phone booth season.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
stay in that shit. Stay in the fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
moving
crazy.
on, where are you leading on?
Oh yeah. So we did a giveaway, right, for the tickets.
Yeah.
So we don't know how we're gonna do it differently as far as like how we're gonna pick the winner, but we're gonna give tickets right for December 22.
So for those listening, we do this podcast, but we also, commentate fights. We work for All-Star boxing events, and we do the
shout out to
play-by-play,
JT Media.
the play-by-play, and the color commentary. And so we did a giveaway for 2 tickets last show, and our next show is December 22nd. So we're gonna do it again.
Where's the location gonna be at?
The location is gonna be at
I think it was
Commerce.
Commerce Casino.
Commerce
right?
Casino. Correct.
Yeah, and we've been there, and that's when we ran into like a bunch of people. Ran into Abel Sanchez. We ran to El Bandido Vargas.
Mhm.
Damn.
John Molina was there. Leo Santa Cruz that was there. He had a fighter.
Yeah.
So
So
it should be fun.
it's gonna be a fun event. We're gonna give away 2 tickets, and for you to win, you have to
Stay tuned.
send an email to Against the Ropes, DA
Yes, against
DA.
DA Ropes.
at gmail.com, and just send us an email saying that you're subscribed and why you want to come to these fights.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go through all these emails, and we're gonna pick out a winner.
Yeah. So we'll have a set number that we want for subscription, but it's not gonna be high. So yeah, we'll make sure we'll do that. And the second one that I want to do is so I have a Creed poster that I got from CompassCon, so I'll be giving that away. But I also want to give away the BR game for Creed. So we'll talk about how we're gonna give that away. But just in the spirit of Creed, I'm really hyped up for next week. Can't believe that movie's gonna come out already.
Man.
So stay tuned. Follow us in our Instagram at what, Gio?
At Against the Ropes.
DA.
Against DA Ropes.
Against
Instagram.
DA Ropes
Yep. Against the Ropes.
and Instagram. And our podcast on YouTube is what?
Yeah. YouTube, we are Against the Ropes podcast. We put up all the clips here. We're also on iTunes. Shout out KDHR.
So subscribe, put on your notifications. We have videos coming every week.
And we're gonna start doing something different now from the podcast. If you guys want to send us an email with like a random editorial, random questions about just the show, anything that you guys want us to answer, email us at againstdaropes@gmail.com.
Yeah, we always like to interact with the people. And shout out to Beat the Count. Those guys do a good job with their boxing analysis. We ran into them at the All-Star Boxing Show. So shout out to them. We'll probably be doing something with them in the near future.
Yeah, we'll be collaborating with them soon.
Yeah, we always like to talk with people who know boxing, right? So if you guys watch all these fights, let us know, whether it's through a comment, email, DMs on Instagram. We read those. So, yeah, man, stay tuned. We're still going to give away a lot of stuff. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming up.
And if you guys want to come to the fights on December 22nd at the Commerce Casino, meet us. We're pretty cool. I don't think we shy away any fans, any subscribers.
I don't know yet. I don't know.
So we'll take pictures.
Shout out Dean Burrell.
We're gonna
Bad
meet him.
news.
Bad news. So, yeah, we'll wait for you guys there. Anything else, guys? You guys want to add?
We'll see what happens with next week, because I know next week is Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
So if we don't do a podcast, just want to give a special shout out to anybody that's listening, anybody that's hearing us, anybody that's subscribed to us. We just barely started on September after the Canelo versus Triple G fight. And so far, it's been an interesting journey
Mm-hmm.
doing this. We've been doing the commentating, doing the podcast, and at the same time too, I tell this to my people, it's been surreal.
Yeah, it's been. I think we talked about this. We started this like at the perfect time.
We started at this. We have met so many boxers. I would have not met Nas, Victor Cruz, and all the other people. It's just, I don't know. I have a double life.
Yeah.
I work at Long Beach State, and then I do this, and people tell me, "Wait, what? You do what?" So, at the same time too, I'm not gonna take it for granted. So I look forward to continuing doing this. But if we don't do this podcast next week, thank you
we'll
for
do
everybody.
it. We'll think of something to record. But yeah, I think this has taken us on an interesting adventure. We're definitely more involved in boxing. I don't think we would have gone to the Contender fights at the Forum if it wasn't for this.
Yeah.
We try to keep the content fresh.
Yeah, I think we're trying to focus like what happens inside the ring. And I think it's always a privilege to have that type of job, to be doing ringside commentating. Helps us. I think like when we first started doing the podcast, we were talking about this 2 weeks ago. Like we didn't start it in mile 1. We started like in mile 13 or 10, So wherever this goes, it's been special. It's not going to end, but thanks for everybody that's been listening to us.
Again, this is what we love. Like,
this is fun, man.
This is fun.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Lakers are winning again.
All right. No more Laker talk.
It's a special time in
That's
LA.
it. Forget about it. I'm done with the show.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. It's been awesome. It's Christian Mosqueda alongside Christian Rodriguez and Gio Garcia. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Peace.
Against the ropes.
Against the ropes, number 1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.